Hey, and welcome to the next training. This one we are going to discuss health baselines, and these are very important for consistency. Health baselines consist of things that we can control day to day for the most part. There's one or two in particular that are a little harder to control, but when we understand that those things start to get out of whack, we can then help cope with it. We kind of understand what to expect from ourselves when those things are out of whack because we have the other things much more balanced. Now, what are health baselines? Health baselines are your sleep, your stress, your water, your mood. These are all things that greatly impact our day-to-day state of being. Sleep is super important because it helps with, if you like to exercise, it helps with your recovery. It helps you retain the muscle that you just attempted to grow. And studies have shown that your lack of sleep greatly impacts how much muscle you actually retain from your workouts. So it's very important to try and get our 8 to 9 hours of sleep a day if we can help it, maybe at least 6 or 7. It's usually what I go for with my training clients as well. We want to try and hit that 6 to 9 hours if possible. I know life gets in the way, but maintaining that allows us to then pick the same point of finding our progress. If you're stepping on the scale, we'd want it to be at the same general time each morning with the same level of dehydration and the same amount of food in you. If it's right when you wake up, then you generally have all of those things figured out. If we're getting only 2 hours of sleep at a time, or 4 hours of sleep at a time, or 10 hours of sleep here and no sleep there, the scale is going to be greatly skewed. You see what I mean by the way it pushes and pulls on some of our metrics? If that is your way of life and that's the way that you do it, it's okay. On a weekly and monthly average, it should balance out. If that's your consistent way of doing it, is that inconsistent way? We can work around it, but I just want you to understand why it is so important to get your sleep. Next thing is going to be our hydration. Water is actually a leading cause of fat loss, primarily because so many people mistake dehydration for hunger. Whenever we encourage somebody to get their daily hydration in a day, typically fat loss comes as a result because you feel so much more full and satiated being hydrated, as opposed to each time you get thirsty, you think you're hungry and reach for a snack instead, which then perpetuates the cycle of continuing to want to eat more because you are still thirsty. So water, I aim for 64 ounces a day at least. This will range depending on your body size a bit, but 64 ounces is a pretty healthy spot for most individuals. If you are a much smaller individual, it could be less, maybe like 56 or 50, but otherwise we still want to be getting a pretty good amount of water in a day. At some point I was getting 2 gallons. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't hurt you, but it can drastically tip the scales in your favor when you start hitting your hydration goals if you have not. Stress is a more slippery one. This one, is very variable depending on what's going on in your life and what kind of traumas you are accustomed to experiencing on a day-to-day basis. Stress, however, tends to push and pull quite a bit on our eating habits and our sleeping habits. And therefore, understanding where it is, why it's there, and what we can possibly do to remedy it will help keep these all on a strong foundation. We don't want a shaky foundation if we can help it. This will change from time to time, but if we can, give yourself a break once in a while. We will be introducing more tools for this in the Law of Attraction module because there's so much of mentality that goes into this and healing those emotional traumas and understanding how to let go or disconnect or just be. And so stress is something we can kind of keep track of, but it's sometimes out of our control. But it is good to keep top of mind, to not let it kind of consume your whole life, because there's so much more to life. We don't want to be spending all of our time being just spazzed. It's hard. So we will keep track of that as well in our tracker. I do have a daily tracker for you if you'd like to see it. I will go ahead and include it down below as a link if you would like to download it. Give me some insights on what you think, on what we can improve, and I'd be happy to do that for you. Otherwise, we're going to set a water goal, set a sleep goal. We're going to be trying to measure about where our stress levels are at each day. And from there, we're going to continue moving forward. Okay? That is my homework for you today, is we're going to pick what water. If you need a water bottle, I do recommend getting yourself a water bottle that is just with you at all times, because it's, people just get to know you and your water bottle is one unit, and they should, because water is so important. This is a 32-ounce bottle. So for 64 ounces, I drink 2 of these, but on average, I drink 4 to 5. That's just what works well for me. I like it that way. It isn't crazy or outrageous, but it is also still hitting that recommended hydration point where we can still stay hydrated and not feel excessively hungry, because that's kind of what we're trying to avoid here. So in the next training, we're going to be going over energy leaks and what we can do to start remedying them or plugging them. We have a hard time with filling our cup when it has holes in it, and that is going to be the next portion of our training. So I cannot wait to see you there.